guys, welcome to Tactical Fall. I'm Kyle Grew. We're back here with another recruitment series. We have, as always, Stevie Shard, Steve Walker. Today we have two phenomenal guests on the NAIA side of college soccer, and I'm going to actually let them do their introduction. We'll start up top with Pablo.
Hey, hi, how are you? My name is Pablo. I played soccer at Lawrence State University. I came over 6 years ago. I came recruited from Spain. After I finished with my degree and with playing, I became a GA, and I've been coaching for 2 years on the men's side of the Lawrence State men's soccer team.
Awesome. Go ahead, Will.
Hi, how you doing? My name's Will Austin, originally from Scotland. I've been over here since 2005. Played college soccer back in the dark ages. Been at Martin Methodist College, a small NAIA school just south of Nashville, Tennessee, for 8 years now, 4 years as the head coach. Our team's currently ranked number 9 in the country on the women's side. And we've got a Nationals alumni playing for us, Mackenzie Strobel, which we're very proud of.
Awesome. Great. I really appreciate you guys being here. We're going to just get right into this. So when do kids typically enter your radar and start getting attention from you guys? What age or grade?
You want to start with that one?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So I will say that the good thing about the NAIA is that we can start talking to the players earlier than NCAA teams. So that kind of gives us an advantage. But we like to recruit early because at the same time when a D1 school or maybe sometimes D2 schools go to the players and they see, oh, this is a D1, you know, I'll forget about NAIA. I don't want to go there anymore. So we kind of try to recruit early to get those players to come to us before they even start recruiting from other places. But usually about sophomore, junior year, we're already looking into some of the players. Actually, our head coach likes to start early, really early. But there's time where we even offer when they're juniors.
Okay.
Very similar. A lot of the kids they want to wait and see if they're going to get the Division 1 interest first. We look at them when they're freshmen and sophomores. We try and start a wee bit early. We had our 2020 class wrapped up in December. We've already got 3 kids committed for 2021. So typically mainly a year ahead of time. But we definitely have kids on our radar when they're freshmen or sophomores. But a lot of times we find the kids have that D1 mentality. They want to go D1, so they're not really going to talk to us and probably until they're a junior.
Okay.
So that's we're still looking, but we don't really get seriously into it probably until they're a junior in high school.
All right. When you are recruiting, though, do you have any specific player types or even personality types that you guys look for?
So we do look at the end of the day on, you know, when you manage a team, when you manage the personnel, right? You obviously want them to fit on the field and be able to play for us on whatever formation we want to play and tactics and everything. But at the same time, we want them to fit as a group of players. So one of the big things that our head coach always does is when he goes look at players, he never tells them that he's going because he wants to see how they interact with the other players. He wants to see how they warm up, how they talk to their parents, or how they move around the field, like before the game, after the game, on the bench, whatever. Because he wants to see if that player, his personality is going to fit with the kind of team that we have. And then the big thing about the NAIA, we'll probably talk about it later too, is how we can invite the players to come to our practices. So when they do come to the practices, we like to see how they interact with the other players, how they fit with the other players, not only, like I said, not only just playing wise, but at the same time, how they fit. If they start talking with other players, if they like to interact with them, or they just like sit by themselves and kind of thing.
Awesome.
Yeah, just along with that, again, you're 100% correct there. Just having them be able to train with a team is very, very helpful for us to be able to see. That's a big advantage of NAI. It's a cliche, but obviously we look for character. We want kids that are coachable. We want kids that can play under a bit of pressure because we're competing to win conference championships and going to the national tournament every year. So we need kids that can play in big games. So we like those kids that have played ECNL, DA type level. A lot of our internationals have played at the youth national team level. So can they handle that pressure? And also, do they have a good personality where they can be humble and be part of the team, as Coach just said? And really, will they do the right things on and off the pitch? Will they go to class? Will they be on time? Will they be respectful of the professors? Are they going to follow team rules? They're going to represent as well, because we're a really small college in a small town. So if they're not acting appropriately, they're going to get found out pretty quickly. It's not a big school where they can hide. And soccer-wise, we can. In my time here, we've always competed. We either tie, or we maybe win by a goal or lose by a goal with mid-major Division 1 teams. So we're looking for a high level of player, and I think that's a big mischaracterization of the NAIA, where it's like way below NCAA. We haven't ever lost to a D2 team while I've been here, and we can compete with a mid-level D1. So we're looking for players that have played at a high level of club. We're not just looking for anyone that comes along.
Absolutely.
So kind of following on from that, and this is kind of like a two-part question, what are some of the best practices that a player can do to obviously get the attention from you guys, from your school? I guess, with that, what kind of resources do you guys use when you're recruiting? And then kind of the second part to that is, do you guys have any overly creative ways that you've had a player kind of reach out to you or kind of get the attention of you?
I think definitely, there's 1,000 ways to get our attention, I think. But obviously, when the kids reach out to us by email, obviously emails have to be well-written email, concise, just to the point, has to be obviously personalized to us. I can tell this year we had 2 players told us that they want to go to Will Dyer University, which is our head coach's name, instead of saying Lawrence State University, right? So at that point, he just forwards it to us. We have a good laugh, and that's about it. That's how far that email is gonna get, right? At the same time, we get a lot of emails saying, "Hey, I would love to go to a school and do, I don't know, to say whatever degree that we don't even offer." Right. So imagine they want to go to like Northwood and they say, well, I want to do this school, this degree, and you guys don't offer it. Right. So at that point you're like, well, are you even interested in us, or right? So that's one big thing that I would say when the kids send out the emails, to make sure they're personalized, they're well written, concise. You have a little paragraph, have your highlight video, which is massive, and then how to reach back to you. Be very proactive in your responses. A lot of the kids take maybe a week or so to reply to us when we want to invite them to our practice or whatever. So that's usually doesn't show that they really have that interest in us, right? At the same time, but one big thing about the NAIA too is we get a lot of international players. So obviously all of us are through video. So we're big on watching videos every day and going through all of those resources. But when it comes to like local talent, we do go over showcases, camps. We have our own summer camp, but we do our D1, D2 schools, their camps. Those combines that are everywhere. We pretty much are at every event that we can go to, and go to high school games, so club games. If we know a kid is playing, we tell them to send out their calendar, and when we show up to games, just watch them. Any way that they can think of, it's a way to get them seen. We take advantage of everything that we can. We have a big coaching staff, so we kind of like divide and conquer and try to see as much as we can from each player before we actually get to sign them.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Let you take that, Will.
Will, is there any resources differently that you would use? Because I know you do attract quite a lot of international students as well, don't you?
For me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we probably recruit in 4 separate ways. We have a lot of international. We don't have a lot of internationals. We have 5, but they're for 5 of our top players. We don't really touch on the women's side. It's a bit different from the men's. We don't really touch an international player unless they've been in a youth national team type level. So we've had players from Brazil, Japan, Cameroon, Argentina, all over the place. And that's been the case for 16 years in the program. Before I got here, that's been long established. We have certain networks of people we trust for them. Then we'll look to bring in a couple of junior college transfers every year just to give us a bit of experience. So we usually go to the JUCO National Tournament in November down in Florida. I run my own camp, my own club down here in Tennessee. So I have a U19 age group which I use to bring in the best players from there into my team and also get the local talent. And then I have a couple of camps that I work out of state, like I work the nationals camp to get maybe a couple of kids from out of state. We don't have the massive recruiting budget that NCAA Division I has, so we don't really get to go to a lot of the showcases, which is why we have to use those 4 ways. But like I was there at the nationals camp last summer, and I thought it was a great setup, and I think it's a great thing for kids to attend camps like that where you're going to be exposed to 20 or 30 or more college coaches. I think that's a very good way for the kids to get exposure. In one camp, 4 or 5 days, you're getting all those coaches looking at you. But beyond that, I would say to kids, just really try and maybe make a top 5 or a top 10. Maybe start with a top 10 and narrow it down as you get older throughout high school. I see a lot of kids, as Coach said, just sending out mass emails, and then you respond to it and they don't even respond back. So it's like they've obviously just sent that to every coach at every division in every state. I always tell our recruits to make a checklist. Look at all the factors that go into your decision. What size of town do you want to be in? Does the school have your major? How good is the team? Can you play there? Are you willing to go sit on the bench for 2 years? What's the team like? What state is it in? What's the campus like? Are there certain things that you have to have and certain things that you can negotiate on? And then from that list of 10 or 5, go out and visit. And it's always good to me when a kid will message me and say, "Hey, I watched your game the other night and I thought this was great, really enjoyed this." Because that shows me that they've went above and beyond to watch you play, rather than just going, "Hey, when can I watch you play?" And it's like, it's 2020, everything's posted online. Every college in the country has a schedule posted. Everyone live streams their games. So to me, if you really want to go to that college, you're going to take an hour and a half out of your day to watch the live stream of that game. And it's obviously even more impressive if they come to the game and they go, "Hey, I was at your game, really enjoyed this and this." They do their research a little bit. "Hey, saw that you guys won the conference last year, saw that you were nationally ranked at this spot." To me, that shows me, or, "Hey, I want to major in this. I noticed that you have a really good program. I read through the stuff on the website." Every college in every country and every college team, every academic department has everything you need on their website in this day and age. So they can really look through the academic programs and look through the soccer program. Even look how many seniors are going to be on the team that year. If you can see that there's 15 seniors, then that's probably a skill you want to look at, because there's going to be an opportunity for you to earn more money. And then I think most importantly of all, especially on the women's side, because there's very few are going to go pro, is get your grades as high as possible. If you have a high GPA and a high ACT score, you're going to get a lot of scholarship money out of that. That's a big misconception that everyone gets full rides. There's not many full rides being thrown around at any level for soccer. In fact, a lot of student athletes will get the majority of their money from academics. So if you can really get those grades and that ACT score as high as possible, you're gonna expand your options and you're gonna find a place to play.
So bouncing off what you just said there, Will, what is the biggest difference? I don't know if you guys know, but I'm pretty sure you'll be knowledgeable about this. What's the biggest difference from the NCAA eligibility compared to the NAIA?
I think for me, there's a misconception that NAIA has no rules, because there used to be no rules 7-8 years ago. Back when I played, there really wasn't. You still have to go through the eligibility center. The biggest difference for me, you don't have to pass an ACT or an SAT. You can have a 2.0 GPA and you can be ranked in the top 50% of your class. So if you have those 2 things, you can be eligible for the NAIA. Whereas you obviously need a certain score. You also don't need core classes like you do in the NCAA, so you don't have to take certain core classes. So for anyone that maybe struggles on their ACT and can't get to a certain level, they could still be eligible to play in the NAIA. In terms of the competitive experience rule, it's actually probably too eligible right now. We've had several kids who got denied NAIA kids in their youth career, whatever level they played at, but then they turned up D2 eligible. So there's not many differences in terms of that. I'd just say the ACT score is probably in the lack of needing the core classes. Other than that, it's very similar.
Anything to add on to that, Pablo?
No, not really. I mean, the biggest difference that we see on the men's side, I mean, as opposed to the women's side, I think is we do get a lot of international players, and the NCAA is a little more strict on if they've played pro, whatever the NCAA considers to be pro in their countries. When they do come to the US, maybe they either, I mean, they might lose a year, or they might not even be able to just play in the NCAA at all. So then at that point, they're looking at NAIA level, and that's why the NAIA level on the men's side is so full of international players compared to maybe the men's side, on the women's side, I mean.
Oh, absolutely. So when you guys are looking at players, recruiting players, what are some red flags or things that make you just turn away from a recruit?
A big thing for me is body language. If I'm at a game and they get subbed off and they blank the coach, or they throw a tantrum, or they're just anything real negative. If someone does something wrong and they're throwing their hands up in the air, or generally just not working hard, if they don't work hard off the ball, because it's great to see a highlight tape, but no one's going to send you a highlight tape of them not working hard. They're going to show you the goals and the passes. I think really a lot of kids don't realize, and I obviously, I talk to my kids on my club team all the time about this. People are always watching you. How you sit on the bench. Are you on the bench? Are you on your phone? Are you talking while your coach is trying to coach? Are you sulking? Anyone that sulks and doesn't work hard, those are kids that are just not going to make it at the next level, because a lot of kids who are a top player in their club team, they may not start their whole freshman and sophomore year in college, and if they're not strong enough mentally to be a team player and accept a role, they're gonna just quit after a month of preseason. And we see it all the time. I've tried to take chances on kids before, and it's not worked out. So that those kind of intangible body language, negativity, working hard off the ball, those type of things are really, really important for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're spot on with all of that. To add on to that, I mean, our college, especially if our kids want to do engineering, it's pretty. I mean, it's a tough school to go to if you want to do engineering. So we do really look into their grades and how they're doing in high school. I mean, we don't want them to fail either, or come in and not have a good experience. But at the same time, we're pretty. Most of our players have been taking the classes and everything, so there's good community to it. They'll be able to help them. But academics is a big thing that we do look into as well. And the other thing I will say is, building on top of what Will said, when they do come to practices, how they interact with the other players, how they practice. How we've had players that come to practice, they're done, and then literally just get their stuff and leave, don't even talk to us. And it's like, I mean, you really want to be here? It's just, I mean, take your time, right? Like we're saying. But it's all the little things at the end that add up to us making the decision whether you get signed or not. I mean, how many players do we sign every year? 10 to 20 players max, at least on our side. There are teams that probably sign 5 to 10 players every year. I mean, to be one of those 5 or one of those 10, it's hard with how many players are out there playing, right? So you have to be a little special or have something that coach is going to say, oh, I want this kid. So you got to do everything, like every little thing that's up to being that kid or not being that kid.
So
yeah, I agree with that. Sorry, can I just add on to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. If you've got something special, that can really set you apart. If you're a great free kick taker, if you can take a corner consistently, just little things like that can set you apart, because there's so many players out there. And for us, it's a mindset. Like we have a lot of Japanese players. Some of them played on the youth national teams, and the Japanese mindset is just incredible. They'll sit after training and clean their boots. They arrive before training to do technical work. They stay after training to do technical work. Anything you tell them to do, they do it to the best of their ability. Work hard every time. They're constantly working on their fitness, so the fittest ones on the team. Just that mentality they have. They always want to do extra. And just like you said a second ago, if they leave right after training, they're not going to make it at the next level. And we found that the kids that stay after and want to work on their own are the ones that are going to have success. And fitness is a big part of it too. Obviously, I don't think a lot of kids realise that the level of fitness you need at the college level is light years away from being fit at the club level. And I tell my club players that all the time. You guys think you're doing enough fitness-wise, but you're nowhere near the level. And a lot of times when kids go in unfit their freshman year, they basically waste. I see it all the time. They waste their freshman year because they just can't get fit. They're behind everyone else. They have to work harder to catch up, and then they get injured before you know it, the freshman year's over. So I think you really have to have that mentality that you're going from maybe being the best in your club team to being one of many great players from around the country and around the world that you're competing with for a spot. So whatever you've been doing, you've got to double or triple that when you're preparing your final year before you go into college, in my opinion.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Yeah, absolutely. So when you're recruiting, this is a two-part question. So when you're recruiting, what is the communication you guys as coaches expect for recruits? And then when they get into the college and you start your season, what is your level of expectation of a communication standpoint? So whether it's, if they want to chat to you, it has to be in person. When they're in, when you're in season, is it text, email? And then when you're recruiting them, what type of communication do you expect from players?
That's a great question, and there's something that drives me nuts with my club team because you'll text them or call them and they won't get back to you for 5 days and go, "Oh, sorry, I was busy." And it's like, no, like you don't understand business. Like, you're not going to be like, high school kids think they're busy, but when they get to college soccer, they're going to realize it's a different level of busy. College soccer players think they're busy, and then they get into the real world and they realize it's a different level of busy. And it's funny because they're obviously on their phone 24/7 on social media. So that's a big thing for us. If we message or call you, you don't have to get back right away, but I mean, you can get back within 24 hours because you know that you're on the phone. NAIA, we're a lot less restricted on what we can do. We can call, text, email, whatever you want to do. We kind of leave it up to the player, honestly, whatever they prefer in the recruiting process. I prefer to call a bit more just so you can get to know the player. And then once you're in the program, I mean, you're expected to be not 24/7, but if something's asked of you that afternoon, you've got to get back. I mean, we have group chats and you've got to be checking that multiple times a day, just like we tell them for their schoolwork. You've got to be checking your email multiple times a day because your professor is contacting you. And that's, I think that's something that needs to be instilled in them a little bit because they spend 24 hours a day on social media, but for some reason they find it hard to answer emails and texts and calls. And that's a bit of a challenge for me trying to get my club players ready for the level. And really kind of a dying art is being able to speak in person. Like when they come on a visit, don't let your parents talk all the time. Because we've had so many kids visit and the mom and the dad are just asking every single question. We're not recruiting your mom and your dad. So if you can't have a conversation in person, you're going to struggle at the next level. And if you're not able to talk on the phone, and I know that's not something kids do as much these days, but it's something you've got to get really good at because I don't think we can learn about them and I don't think they can learn about us if we're just text messaging. I think you've got to be able to call and visit in person and talk face to face.
Well, just to bounce off something you just said then, I'm curious to find out. So when you do have a recruit come in and you talk to a girl and the parents are kind of leading the meeting,
yep.
What is your thought process? Like, do you just shove them out the way and say, you know what, if you can't do it, don't want to talk to you? Or do you kind of see if another meeting they take it? Like, where do you go with that?
It's a red flag right away because we've signed kids before who when the parents are really leading it and those kids never really work out. They get homesick or, I mean, once they're in our program, we don't talk to parents unless it's obviously if it's a medical emergency or something like that, we'll talk to them. But other than that, we don't. So that's a red flag right away. Anyone we've had where the parents are like that, they haven't lasted very long.
Right.
I'll kind of try and be polite and go, hey, do you want to answer this question for me? Ask the player. But I think I think a lot of parents, they want it so bad for their kids that they want to just be in charge of every aspect of the process. And I think they have to take a step back and it's really got to be what the kid wants. And that's when we make kids offers, when we recruit them, I tell them all the time, this is what we are, this is what we are not. If you're looking for nationally competitive soccer, you can compete at the national tournament level. You're going to be at the same level of soccer as mid-level D1. However, we're a campus of 700 people. We're a town of 12,000 people. If that's not what you're looking for, then I'll be very happy for you if you find the right spot for you. It's got to be it's got to be the spot for them. It's not got to be what the parents want, what the coaches want, what I want. So I think the parents can kind of facilitate and obviously maybe educate them on the questions to ask, but I think the kid's got to have the confidence to ask those questions, because if the kid doesn't have the confidence to ask those questions, how are they going to have the confidence to be a leader on the pitch in a big game?
That's irrelevant of the level of the player, right? Like, doesn't matter if you've got a top player, irrelevant. There's certain protocols.
They just can't, if they're not independent enough to do that. And I think that's important for parents to, because I think the parents know the questions to answer, because they're obviously more mature and more experienced.
Right.
But they've got to maybe prep the kid beforehand and then let the kid ask the question.
Okay, perfect. Pablo.
Yeah, I mean, I think he said it all. No, but it truly is. It's crazy to see when some of our players do come in with their parents, how like he's saying, some of the parents are leading all the question after question. And you're like, well, do you have any questions? No, I mean, and at that point, for me, it's kind of like both ways, right? Like that parent-player relationship, I think it looks bad on the kid, obviously, because maybe he proves like he's not showing that confidence and that interest, right? But at the same time, on the dad, I mean, I don't think, like you said, we don't want to deal with parents when they come to campus. Like he said, if we are going to be dealing with parents whenever throughout the 4 years that they're going to be with us, it's because it's something major. It's not because, oh, my kid is not playing, or, we've got to go, he's going to miss practice because he's at work. No, I mean, he's a grown-up now. You're 18, 19 years old. You have to take care of this stuff yourself. And then communication when we're recruiting them, I mean, it's massive. Right now, I had the group chat with all of our incoming freshmen, and you ask for 2 pictures, and it takes them some of them 2 weeks to get that picture. And that already tells you, like, look, it's just 2 pictures. You're on your phone all day. We're all on quarantine right now. You don't have anything else to do. Just find me the 2 pictures.
Yeah, not that busy.
And they're like, sorry, I've been so busy. No, you haven't been that busy. You're probably on Fortnite all day, right? Just get me the 2 pictures. That's all you have to do. But yeah, I mean, that just shows how much you can't rely on those kids, and that's, they haven't even stepped a foot on your campus truly as a player of the team, and you're already a little biased about those players, right? Because if you have a kid that is coming in, like, he's done everything you asked for, minute 1, you ask, I need a picture. Boom, picture. I need this info from you. The info is right there. Where when they come in first day on campus, you're going to be, that's the kid that sent me everything on time. I can probably rely on him more than I can rely on him. And that's when you're talking, leadership groups on the team, which we do start with leadership teams kind of since freshman year. I mean, we got freshmen that are already leading and are being part of that leadership groups, right? So that's the guy that you want to, okay, I trust this guy more than I do this guy, kind of thing. And that's just from not even day 1, day 0, I guess, right? Before you even come on campus.
That's spot on what you just said right there. We tell our players all the time, prove it. Stop telling us you're going to do something, just prove it. And the ones that get back, the ones that respond quickly, the ones that go above and beyond, the ones that take the time out to help their teammates, those are the ones that succeed. The ones that always have excuses, they don't make it. And it's just it's a part of the culture over here that I've struggled to understand. I've been here 15 years now. When I was 17 and a half, my parents put me on a plane, and then I came over here and I was on my own. If I had a problem, I had to solve it myself. And we sometimes have kids who are 21, 22 years old, and they're still running stuff by their parents, and they've got. It's just very, very strange to me. Like, to me, if you leave the house, that's you got to take responsibility for yourself. And I think that goes both ways. I think parents have got to allow the kids to be a bit more independent, but I think the kids have also got to put themselves out there a bit more. I think a lot of them are kind of in a comfort zone where if they run out of money, mum and dad will just send me more, or they'll if I wreck my car, they'll just buy me another one. I think it's really important for kids to be a bit more independent, and I think that will make them a lot more successful at the next level.
So kind of tying on to that, then obviously you guys have both talked a lot about the things that you look for in a player and the things that obviously that's required. what would the one thing that you would say would be very important for a player to be a success at your school specifically? And what one thing do you think would be the biggest reason why they would fail? What, I mean, obviously I know there's a lot, but I mean, there's one kind of deciding factor that would make them a success and one that would potentially make them a failure within what they're doing.
For me, I would say it's time management. I mean, I've been a coach just for 2 years right now, but I was a player for 4 years. So I've been through the whole process of actually just being a player, right? And for me, the biggest thing has been time management. I always tell everybody, I don't think I'm better than anybody, and I've been able to do it. Graduate in time, get good grades, do my soccer, being part of different organizations and do different stuff. Have an internship. There's literally time for everything. All you gotta do is plan it out, plan your day out. You know what you have to do and get it done. And with soccer, it's just like that. I mean, you have your practices. You have to be ready for practice. You have to sleep well. You have to eat well. You gotta go to practice. You gotta take care of yourself. You gotta stretch, everything. You gotta do your workouts, but you gotta take your time to study, get your work done for classes, go to classes, and And when soccer season, it's soccer season. And the fall, the spring is a little more relaxed, I guess. But the fall is the fall, and the fall is our season. And, you got to be 24/7 about getting your classes done, getting your grades up, but focusing on soccer and making sure that you're competing on soccer. And if you have your good time management, obviously hard work and, all of that comes with it. But having that time management was going to make you be ready to succeed, I think.
I would agree 100% with that, but I don't want to give the same answer. So I'd say grit. Grit is one of the biggest things for me. I watched a study. Someone was giving a speech. They did a psychological study over decades, and they said that how much grit you have, aka how can you persevere through bad situations in life. That's the biggest determining factor in how much success you have in life. It's not talent, it's not intelligence, not anything else. And that's something we try and educate our players on. There's always going to be bad things that happen, because we have kids that they're like, oh, my grandmother's in the hospital, and this professor's being mean to me, and it's like the end of the world to them. And it's kind of trying to educate them that life is 99% of how you respond to it, because there's always going to be obstacles that are thrown at you from every angle. And the kids that have that grit, that self-motivation to just persevere and work hard on the days they don't want to be there. If it's 6 a.m. in November and it's freezing out there, there's not much glamour in being out there. But the kids that have the grit are the ones that will go out there and do that and do it without needing to do it to post it on social media every 5 minutes. Just doing it because you want to do it, not doing it for likes, not doing it for anything else. Just having that grit inside you that you're going to work hard every single day. And the one I think that makes people fail would be selfishness. I think the kids that really we have club parents that they're counting the goals and they're counting the assists, and it's all about how many goals my kids scored and all this. Any sort of selfishness is not going to make you successful at the college level, because you're going to be surrounded by top players. It can't all be about you. And we the last 2 years in a row, we've had the number one player in the country for assists. She had 22 this year, 21 the year before. 2 years before that, we had a girl that scored 129 goals in 78 games. Number one in the country. But we didn't win a national championship. So to me, that proves you can be number one in whatever you want, goals, assists, saves, whatever it is. But if you don't have a group of 25, 30 people that can all work together for the team,
That's team sport, right?
not going to win it all. So I think kids that are selfish and really care about their own stats are not going to make it at the next level, because even if you are a 30, 40 goal striker at the club level, you might score 5 or 10 in college as a freshman. You're not going to score 30, or you're not going to come in and score 30 or 40. Very, very few players can do that. So just being able to put your ego aside for the team is huge.
Absolutely. No, this is great stuff. And I want to get you guys out of here because we value your guys' time. We appreciate you being here. But the last thing I want to ask you guys is, if you're talking to high schoolers, recruits, whatever it is, what's the best possible advice you can give them right now? Whoever wants to take it. I know it's a tough one. I saved the best for last, guys. Come on now.
Yeah.
Where he was like, did he get his 1 year shots? Is he caught up?
I mean, with this situation, is that what the question is?
Those?
Just in general, the best advice you can give to a recruit.
Shots and he wasn't one yet.
I would say find the best fit for yourself. Like Will actually mentioned it earlier, and that's massive. I mean, if you want to go to a 50,000 student school, you're not going to come to LTU. You're probably going to go to UFM, Michigan State, whatever, right? If you want a small school, well, you may be looking at us. If you really want to do engineering, you might be looking at us. But if you really want to do business, maybe our school is not the best of the business. We still have it, but you might be looking at other options, right? So I think like finding that fit is what's going to drive you. I mean, at the end of the day, if you're not a top D1, you're probably not going to make it for us. So soccer is just another way to, I mean, it is what it is, right? It's another way to keep competing, being part of a sport, being, in a way, it's a way to pay for school as well, if you get a scholarship and everything. So at the end of the day, it's finding that right spot for you and knowing that you're probably not going to make it to the pro, deciding what's going to prepare you for that next life, right? So don't go to a school. We actually had a player that came to us because he wanted to be on our team. And when we were talking to him about his academics and everything, it's like, well, this doesn't really add up to what your range of the schools you should be looking at. And we're like, why? I mean, we value it. You want to come to us, play for us? Great. But is it the best for you? Like Will said earlier, I mean, it has to be the best for the kid, not only the best for the team. Like we said earlier, there's millions of players out there that will love to play for each team. So at the same time, there's many other schools that would love to have you on their team. So you have to find, for me, it's finding that right spot. Like Will said earlier, make a list, put the priorities first. If you want to do engineering, look at top engineering schools. If you want a small school, get rid of all the big schools. If you want a big school, get rid of the small schools. If you want it in a big city, well, you probably won't come to us. If you want a small city, maybe you do. So it's finding that right fit for each person. I think it's the massive thing. It's the go-to.
Yeah, just to build off of that, just being really open-minded. I've coached D1, D2, NAIA now. There's great teams at every level, and quite frankly, if you're not going to a top 50 NCAA Division 1 or a Power 5, you've got no chance of winning a national championship in Division 1. And we encounter a lot of kids that go, I only want to play D1. Well, your team might not make the conference tournament and your season's done in mid-October, whereas you could come here and you're playing into the first week of December at the national tournament. Right. So I think be open-minded, because the top 25, top 30, top 50 teams in NCAA D2 and NAI and NCAA Division 3 and JUCO, all those top teams is a very, very good level of soccer. I think the difference is D1s have a bigger school, bigger budgets, and there's more quality throughout the whole league. But the top level teams in D2, D3, NAI, JUCO is a very, very good level of soccer. So don't limit your options by caring about labels in terms of division, and don't narrow your opportunities by geographic factors as well. I encounter a lot of kids in Tennessee that don't want to leave Tennessee. I do camps in Michigan. A lot of kids, as soon as I say I coach in Tennessee, they're like, oh no, that's too far away. But you've just limited yourself there. You've limited yourself massively in terms of soccer and academics, because especially on the women's side, I think there's, like, because of Title IX, there's so many scholarships out there. I think there's scholarship money that actually goes unclaimed every year. There's thousands of programs, so there's a level for everyone. Even if you're not a top player, you play on a third level club team, whatever it is. If you don't think that you maybe have what it takes, there's JV programs. A lot of NAI schools have JV programs and they can offer scholarship money. So there's a level for everyone. There's a level for absolutely everyone, particularly on the women's side. But I think people limit themselves quite often based on labels. I only want to play D1, or I only want to stay in my home state. I think as soon as you look a bit more beyond that, you're gonna open yourself up, because the way I break it down to them is you're here for 4 months in the fall, you go home for a month, You're here for 3 or 4 months in the spring, and then you have 3 months off in the summer. So realistically, you're home for a third of the year. They think it's like they're going to the end of the earth and they're never going to get to come home. You have so many breaks in college. I mean, it's almost ridiculous the amount of breaks you have. You're home for 4 months, so you can survive anywhere for a 3 or 4 month period of time. You just got to be a bit more open-minded. And I think I just wish people would not limit themselves because there's so much scholarship money out there at every level for anyone that wants it, honestly.
And the proof's in the pudding as well. When you look at COVID, we're all going to be hooked up for 3 months in one place. So you're more than capable of being able to stay in one place for 3 to 4 months.
Right, anywhere, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And along with that, just we've talked about it before, but just personalise everything. Don't say "Dear Coach" in an email. Write their name and give a couple of facts. Maybe, hey, I like that you won the league, or you won the tournament, or you were ranked at this spot. Whatever it is. Hey, I like your biology program. Just give some facts about the school and get the coach's name right, because that's half the battle.
Yeah, for sure.
If I get something, dear coach, I don't even read it. I just delete it because we get so many of those. So if you can't take the time to personalize it, then you're obviously not that interested in that school. So why send an email? Why waste your time?
Absolutely. Yeah, guys, I really appreciate the time. We've gotten a lot of great information out of this, and I think that everybody watching is going to really take a lot away from this. So I appreciate you guys' time. I'm going to get you guys out of here. This has been Tactical Foul. We've had Will. We've had Pablo. As always, we have Stevie and Steve as well. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.